Good morning. This is Bill from Curious Cars on, what is quite frankly a very nice, proper Florida March morning. The temperature is probably in the 60s, maybe close to 70. It's not humid for a change. And, this is the kind of weather that makes me happy to occasionally be in southern Florida. Unfortunately, by the time noon rolls around, it's going to be in the mid-80s, which doesn't sound bad until you factor in this horrible tropical sun, which just bakes the shit out of you. I mean, 85 here, even in the winter, is different from 85 anywhere else. It's brutal. To be outside trying to do anything. You still want to get inside because it's like that Twilight Zone movie where the sun was getting closer. Not movie, I think it was the show. And everyone was burning up and it just sucked. And that's what it's like here. So in that vein, that's why I have now finally closed, as of yesterday, on a house in North Carolina. Not necessarily where I wanted to be, by the way. Penelope, but she's very cheap, so I was going to be in kind of a posh, fancy area, and Penelope, found some place out in the great wilderness where houses were cheaper. So with tremendous strong-arming, she forced me there. But what the hell? It's not Naples, and it's, I'm going to be up there this summer. I have to do a little bit of remodeling. But the videos are going to keep happening. No worries about that. And they're going to keep happening in the summers and maybe a little beyond up in the western North Carolina area. So Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Little bit of news. First of all, a public service message. This is important, and I don't usually do these, but I'm going to do it this time. Could we please make some sort of official policy about having a minimum, I'll settle for it, 1 minute grace period on callbacks, on missed calls? Just 1 minute. I'm not looking for more than that. You know, are you listening, Al or Penelope? Can you hear me? You know, you call in, I'm in the middle of some stupid thing. I'm like, okay, I need to talk to them. I'm going to call them back. So I stop doing whatever stupid thing I'm doing, call back within, 30 to 45 seconds, and they don't answer. And I think that's total bullshit. And, I don't know if Miss Etiquette or Miss Manners has covered any of this, but she should. And if she, were smart, she would say, yes, you have to put in some kind of a minimum grace period for a callback before you go on and get on another call, and then it just starts the whole phone tag shit, and it becomes incredibly annoying. So that's my little message for today. I could get into traffic issues and other things. There's plenty of them to go around, but we'll start with the phone issue. Speaking of Chris, the worst human on earth, who here's a shot of him giving Big Cheap Al a ride the other day in his ridiculous jalopy. And I had the misfortune of riding behind, but I figured I might as well photograph it. He beat up or wanted to beat up a car full of old ladies. And, you might hear that and think, no, yeah, that is Chris to a T. Apparently, while he was backed into a space at Longhorn or one of these places he likes to eat, some car pulled up in front of him and blocked his path while some 112-year-old woman was being loaded inside. And he just didn't have the patience to wait for that because, of course, he's Chris and he's the most important human on earth. So he just started honking the horn. Turns out they were Italian, so they started yelling back. Next thing you know, you got Chris in a parking lot road rage incident at Longhorn with a bunch of old ladies because he just didn't have the patience to let a 112-year-old get in the car. The road rage incident lasted a lot longer than her entry would have. But of course, that's typical. He's also on a diet. He told me that, man, I didn't laugh so hard since I heard my nephew was on a hunger strike. He's even seen a dietitian. So I thought, what the hell, I'm gonna, let's go to lunch today. We went to lunch. He picked some place called Cheddar's. I'd never been there before. But I thought, okay, he knows I'm here. He's gonna get like the grilled chicken and broccoli. Well, yeah, no. Here's a shot. Loaded fry appetizer, chicken fried steak. When the waitress asked him what sides he'd like, he gets 2. He said, yeah, I'd like mashed potatoes and mashed potatoes. So he doubled up on this. That's 3 different servings of friggin' potatoes. 2 gravy cups. It's a miracle he wasn't drinking vodka, with the meal. Just, of course, Coke. So I don't know what his dietitian would think of all that, but to me it looks pretty friggin' gluttonous and doesn't look like a nice way to drop a few pounds. Peter has an otter back there. He's got a koi pond somewhere in the back. I try not to get back there because there's cats and deers and other creepy animals, but apparently he's got a koi pond, and he's had these koi for like 20 years or something. Well, they start disappearing, and then he's finding little fish skeletons around. So he puts out one of these wildlife cameras. Lo and behold, he's got an otter. The thing comes in the screen door, grabs his koi like a bear grabbing a salmon, and starts munching on it. So Peter said he starts staking it out. He's got a shotgun out the window of the bathroom or something, trying not to go to sleep. The otter's pretty smart, so it waits until he's asleep, and then it attacks. And only a couple of times has he caught wind of it, woken up, shot at it. The thing takes off, and he misses somehow with the 12 gauge with birdshot. I hope maybe he's using slugs. He'll never hit it with that. But he's tried twice to shoot it. He put out a trap. I think he put peanut butter in it, but I don't believe otters eat peanut butter. So he hasn't caught it yet, and the thing continues to torment him. But anyway, that's the news. Get into the car real quick. And what I have today is a 2024 Tesla Cybertruck. Technically, it's a Cyber Beast. with the foundation package. It starts to get a little bit complicated. You know, they have different packages you can get on this thing. But from what I know, that this is the kind of the top of the top. It's got the most beef underneath and options and that sort of thing. So it's pretty expensive, like 120 grand, which is kind of shocking. I hear they might have just dropped him 20 grand, so that'll make the people about this one happy. But here it is, and I thought, man, what a great time to review one when, you know, Cybertrucks, Tesla, are in the middle of this sort of bizarre national scandal where, you know, people are attacking them on the streets and, you know, calling the people who drive them Nazis, and which is just hilarious. And I want to see if that happens. I drove it around yesterday. I did not get called a Nazi. I did get some glares. I parked it at that Cheddar's place. Nobody keyed it. You know, no spray painted swastikas or anything, so that's good. So I'm a little disappointed, but that could just be Naples. Maybe if I were in a more, you know, politically diverse town, I'd get more. I did get a really nasty look from the neighbor's snowflake daughter. I mean, this real harumph looking thing as I was pulling in. I gave her a big friendly wave, you know, hi, hi. And she just didn't look impressed at all. So, you know, so there it is. But why people attack cars is absolutely beyond me. I mean, what the frig did the car ever do to anyone? I mean, a car is just trying to faithfully get its owner from point A to point B. If you hate the owner, punch him. You know, do whatever you got to do. Don't attack the damn car. And ladies, I'm talking to you, okay? You know, just because the guy does some horrible, egregious act, like, you know, drinks the last of the half and half or something, you don't have to go out and take it out on his car. Yeah, the car did nothing to you. You know, I don't understand the type of evil that goes into that. And frankly, I should make that another one of the community service pet peeves because, you know, leave the damn cars alone. Let them be. Let them be. If you got to go after the people, go after the people. But the cars are innocent. So anyway, there it is. And now we can sort of just dive into this thing. And look, there's some expectations. I've reviewed Teslas before, and when I haven't liked them. They are very, very far removed from the stuff that I like in the automotive world. You know, I did a Model Y, I did a Model 3, and, you know, it was like driving around an iPhone. But I've seen these things, these Cybertrucks, you know, for years. What, I think Musk said he was going to make one back in the early like 2013, 14. It took a while. Then they announced it in like 2019. And finally, only, you know, late 23 did they actually start making the damn things and selling them. And in fact, apparently Blade Runner had a big impact on this thing. You know, he was inspired by that. And by Wet Nelly, which was that Lotus Esprit Turbo from the 70s, The Spy Who Loved Me, and James Bond. Apparently that look was part of the inspiration for this polygon, whatever the hell it is, for this strange design. And, you know, I get it, but, you know, the Lotus had a roof, Elon, you know, it had a roof. It had a horizontal patch up on top, which I think helped, honestly, because I feel like putting shingles on the top of this thing. But anyway, look, man, here's the thing. You know, obviously it's going to be love it or hate it. No question about that. I mean, look at it. It's going to be love it or hate it. Secondary to that, no, it's, you know, it's far from beautiful. But I get the same vibe from this thing that I got from the Plymouth Prowler, which is, man, I can't believe they built the friggin' thing. You know, when you drive it around the street, when you see it parked somewhere, it doesn't look, I mean, you know, it's a cliche to say it doesn't look like anything else on the road. But, you know, if the cliche is going to be used, let's use it for this. This doesn't look like any other friggin' thing on the road anywhere. And it's like a whole different, you know, you could say, I'm not going to get clear to the future, whatever. Okay, let's call it futuristic. I mean, when it's driving on the street surrounded by the cars around it, I mean, it could be from, you know, 50 years from now, or from, you know, a cereal toy 40 years ago. But but it is definitely unique in its own thing. The stainless thing is not new, obviously. Famously used in the DeLorean in the 1980s to add a similar effect. And it's nice to be able to wax your car with Sheila Shine. It sort of, you know, takes some of the rubbing out of it. But, you know, by the same token, you have something that looks like a Frigidaire going down the road. But anyway, the stainless thing is not new, but it definitely is currently new. It's nothing else is stainless for the last, what, 40 years. So that's unique. The design, obviously, is just almost an FU. I mean, somebody was having a laugh, and then it just went too far. There is not a curved panel, with the exception of the front nose, which was not that way in the concept vehicles, but I guess they did that for aerodynamics. And the thing actually is apparently pretty aerodynamic. You know, some people, you look at it and you think it wouldn't be. More so because of maybe the underneath and its smoothness than on top. But I think it's like a 0.33, which if I remember right is about the same as the original Lexus MS. So it is fairly aerodynamic. It's smaller than an F-150 Lightning, bigger than a Rivian, but apparently wider than both, and it just ends up being its own thing. It looks nothing like a pickup truck until you start getting into it. Anyway, look, I'm going to pause there for a minute, get my act together, and then we're going to keep going. And this is going to be a fairly short video this time. I just don't have that much to add. I don't want to get into the technical specs beyond the basest of them. And I don't want another 45-minute video on this thing. So bear with me, 5 minutes. All right, so look, let's dive right back into this thing. And by this thing, I mean something that quite frankly looks like a doorstop and a dishwasher had a baby. I mean, it is stainless. And, you know, most appliances these days seem to be as well. And, you know, my big fear about this truck is that it's just basically going to be another appliance. And to some extent, that holds true. To another extent, it's a dishwasher that does 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds and a quarter mile time of 11 flat, and can actually beat a Porsche 911 in the quarter mile while towing a Porsche 911. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive shit. I mean, can we all just agree on that? But, you know, like all electric cars, it's cheating. It's cheating because electric motors are just instant torque. I mean, you connect a little electric motor to a battery and it's going wide open in a millisecond, okay? There's no spool up. So if anything, when you make an electric car, you have to find some way to tone all that down so it's not so fast it rips the tires off. And, you know, that's one of the things that's always kind of bugged me about electric cars is they talk about the speed as though it's really part of the engineer. They made it fast. No, they didn't make it fast. It's fast by nature, and that's fine. But look, I've got a Camaro project going, and people are, you know, what are you going to put in it? You know, big. No, I'm not putting, I mean, I'm going to leave the stock manifolds and let it just be a cruiser, because the days of stoplight racing are over. With these cars, when your average Camry has 300 horsepower, what's the point? I mean, unless I spend like 20 grand on an engine, I'll never get to 60 in 2.6. I'll never have a drivable 76 Camaro that'll run an 11-second quarter, not easily anyway. So it has freed me from that, and to some extent I appreciate it. Now, the stainless construction obviously has its benefits as well as some drawbacks, but the benefits are, you know, it's stainless, so it's pretty hard to screw up. You can always scrub it down with, you know, barkeeper's friend, and it's going to be back to where it was. Secondary to that, the panels are, you know, I won't call them indestructible, but they're, you know, they're pretty tough. In fact, I've got a wiffle ball bat here that I just found in Peter's driveway, and I can give it a bang against, oh, there. Nope, yeah, it walks right away. So I thought Dave was going to kill me. This thing belongs to Dave the Wholesaler. But so it's tough, you know. You're not going to hurt the thing. But Saturn did that with plastics for, you know, a lot less money. Of course, DeLorean had the same stainless architecture. Now, that said, the panels are actually they're integral to the frame. It does not have bars in the door. Apparently the panels are tough enough to negate the need for bracing inside. It does have an aluminum skeleton inside, but the stainless exoskeleton is apparently tough enough to be structurally part of the vehicle, and you know, it hasn't been crash tested yet, but it's probably pretty damn good. You know, the design, man, you know, I don't know. I mean, the peak up there on the roof with the lack of any horizontal space on top. Look at the size of this wiper, by the way. It's about 4.5 feet or something. I don't know, it's huge. Apparently it functions as an aerodynamic thing, like almost like a diffuser. When you're going down the road, it'll eke over a little bit to help funnel the wind, and you know, it uses the whole vehicle is 48 volts, so it uses a little 48 volt motor which can push it, you know, I heard they were a little bit problematic. I'm not surprised. Look at the size of it. You know, that thing is is a little bit unique. Anyway, there's the front. This is nice as a pointer. This thing here, this thing that glows, it's not the headlight, it's a daytime running light. The headlights are down here underneath, where apparently snow piles up and blocks them. So, yeah, you got that. Maybe they can melt it somehow. You got these 20-inch wheels. They're supposed to have covers on there, but they're missing on this one, which is fine because they're kind of stupid, and they cover the whatever the hell you call it, the valve stem, for Christ's sake. So anyway, they were taken off. That's what's underneath, and I like that better. You also have, of course, these very staunchly cornered off wheel arches, the triangular rearview mirror, no door handles of any kind. It's very utilitarian, and you know, I think that's part of the shtick. One thing that was interesting, I'm going to get rid of this wiffle ball bat now, is that apparently it's being advertised as being bulletproof. And I thought, man, that's cool. That's something that I want to put to the test. Well, I told Grady, a friend of mine, very nice guy, I told him my plans, that I brought a gun with me to, you know, try shooting it. And he said, man, look, first of all, the gun you brought, well, I brought this. Apparently, I thought if we're going to test to see if the, you know, thing is bulletproof, we should try it with a proper gun. Well, Grady had done some research, and apparently it's subsonic rounds only that it has a chance of stopping. And even if you use them, it's still going to put a ding in the door, and I don't think Dave would like that. So I will not be doing that. That's a 9mm subsonic round, and you know, that's the 50 BMG I was going to try it with. But that's out. I can't do it. You know, Dave will have me shot, and I'll be in for some kind of big repair bill. So we'll just let that hang out in the back. This tonneau cover is interesting. Apparently you can stand on it. It's tough enough for that. And it comes down when you're driving for the sake of aerodynamics. You lose like 10% of your efficiency if you have it open when you're driving. So that does come down. In the original concept thing, there was some kind of Tesla ATV you could drive into the back of it and park there. And of course that would really kill your efficiency. But anyway, there it is. There's the tailgate, which is, you know, a reasonable bed in this thing. It's not great. I mean, you're not putting sheets of plywood in there, but frankly, the way American trucks have gone to these big 4-door family car things with little boxes in the back, it fits right in. So, you know, are there any pickup trucks anymore? I don't know, maybe. It has little D-rings for you to, you know, strap stuff down, and you know, otherwise it works pretty well as a pickup truck bed. The back, you know, stainless panel. If you look close, you can see this beast logo etched into it. It looks like somebody really rubbed the hell out of that because it's kind of weak looking. But, you know, it works, and it works in a futuristic kind of way. Now, I tell you, no, I'm going to keep going. Here's the thing. Man, yesterday I was kind of excited at the prospect of having people call me out and give me the finger and, you know, throw me, you know, Gestapo salutes and whatnot. Today, I'm feeling like I want to be a little bit more low profile. So I thought, man, you know, how can I make this thing not look like a Cybertruck, not look like this controversial vehicle, you know, that people are having problems with? So I went to AutoZone. And I found these. So this is how we're going to start. These are kind of stick-on Ventaports. And I thought if I make this thing look a little bit like a Lithuanian taxi, maybe people won't think it's a Cybertruck. So let's give that a shot. Where would they go here? I think back up here. Man, it's not like sticking to that stainless too much. Hopefully it stays on. Oh shit. All right, no good. There we go. Gotta just eyeball the, oh no, that one's coming out. Oh shit. All right, so I gotta revamp that. Give me 1 minute. All right, so I'll worry about the other side later. But so now with these Ventaports on there, I think I'll just blend in as some kind of Lithuanian Uber or something, and people may not recognize it as a Cybertruck. And, you know, hopefully that works out for me. I don't know if I should show you the frunk. I mean, it's up here, it lifts up. Oh God, all right, what the hell? Show it, let's see if we can get in there. There's that cyberpunk. Let's see. Control, fold mirrors, tonneau, closed. It has a car wash mode, by the way. Apparently, if you don't hit that, you're in trouble. You definitely want to do that if you're going through a car wash. Otherwise, water gets in everywhere. I have no idea how it seals anything, but apparently it does. Open the frunk. Oh, there we go. All right, so there it is. So that gives you a little bit of upfront storage, which is nice. You know, you can put some, you get the Cybertruck logo there, and, you know, it all works out very well. So that's that. I'll put that back down again. You can even pause it. And we'll get into this in a minute. Anyway, all right, so there's that. And I tell you what, I'm going to put all my stuff inside now before, you know, hopping in the thing and we go for a spin. So hold on 1 moment. All right, so let's keep going. Again, before I get in and we go for a ride, I want to reiterate that you've got this 6,900-pound vehicle, of course heavier because of batteries and such, but you know, you're talking about 7,000 pounds. Whatever it's got under the hood, if you will, and that's obviously not the correct terminology, will propel it from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, quarter mile of 11. At 113, it's limited in top speed to like 130 or something. But it is insanely fast. And, you know, that does give it a certain degree of interest for me. The wheel, look at these things. They're 35-inch sort of all-terrain looking things. They look cheap. Yeah. Man, in fact, the wheel covers are designed to fit into those notches in the tires, not on the wheel. So you're kind of stuck buying those tires. I bet they're like $110, $140 each, these things. They really know how to get you. If you look in the back seat, actually, Dave left some clothes in. I mean, I really hope those aren't as Gucci flowered flip-flops, because that's going to change the way I look at Dave. Hopefully that's just someone in his sphere. But anyway, it's got 3 across. You're Canadians, gotta love them, you know, gotta love the Canadians. Can fit 3 across with decent leg room back there, and they're going to be chipper, and, you know, even the headroom ain't bad, and you've got, you know, in the sky above you. You also have a touch screen to keep them amused, 9.4 inches, and I don't even know what it does. It looks like it'd give you music or climate, that sort of thing, and a little spot there to put your firearms, and all this honestly feels a little bit cheap to me. You know, I'm sure it's going to hold up well, but yeah, it's definitely appliance worthy. Have a look up front, and all this just, man, here's the key for the thing. I hope I have it in my pocket somewhere. This is what I was given. Now, I know this is not the proper key. You use your phone, you know, get it, which obviously I don't have. So in the meantime, you get this, which looks like the room key at like a Motel 8, and you tap it up there. That opens the car. You have to push that little guy, and then it pops open, so no exterior door handles. And then you've got this very traditionally Spartan Tesla interior where they're just not, you know, giving you a bunch of bling or luxurious looking stuff to sink it. It doesn't look like a Chrysler Fifth Avenue from the 80s, that's for sure. And that's the kind of shit I like. So obviously this is not going to be entirely my style. I also feel like I've been stepping in red ants. So very, very minimalist. We hop in and we've got what they call this squircle. Back out so you can see it. Apparently Tesla discovered that people like retarded steering wheels and they put them in their vehicles, and this is one of them. So it looks a lot like an airplane yoke, but with a, you know, top bar on it. Well, for the traditional guy, and let me zoom out a little bit, that's just not going to do. So when I was at AutoZone getting some accessories, I got myself this. It's a furry steering wheel cover. Let's see if I can get that, and we'll see if we can't get that. I've got a backup plan if this doesn't work. Oh, why is everything so hard? I'll start with that side. Okay, and then over there. All right, there we go. So now, you know, with a little bit of slop, I do have a traditional steering wheel. It's still not going to work well for me because it's not even a full turn. It's all electronic, you know, fly-by-wire Airbus style in this thing. 0.9 of a turn lock to lock. So this thing, which kind of screws up my secondary plan. Here in my little bag of stuff, I got a 8-ball suicide knob, and I thought, let's see how this, it doesn't come off very easy, does it? Oh, you got to use the screw thing, and I don't have any tools with me. All right, well, look, I'm going to mount this up here somewhere, and it's going to, not only is it going to help me turn the wheel, with the 8-ball, it's going to indicate that, you know, I'm something of a badass, and it's going to make people back off. So, unfortunately, I didn't bring a Phillips with me, and I'm going to have to install that later. That said, look at this expansive dashboard up here. I mean, it looks like, remember those Pontiac Trans vans and the Oldsmobile Silhouettes from the 80s? I used to have to clean those when I worked at the car lot, you know, 35 years ago. And it's a big, lonely place. If you had a box of donuts, that'd be one thing. I don't. But, you know, thank you, AutoZone, for helping out. I found this Hula Girl. And with any luck, it's stuck there. All right, let's get it on. Hopefully it'll stick. It doesn't stick very well. But okay, there she is. She's a little bit lonely there, but God bless her. I think, you know, I think it sort of helps wake up the dash a little bit. You also do get a rear view mirror right here. Here's the thing, though. Yeah, you're going to be looking at the tonneau cover. So it's the rear view mirror to nowhere. If we're going to do that, we might as well dress it up a little bit. And I thought we could add some blingy dice. So we've got that going now. And did I have anything else? Are we done, or is that... I got a trucker's ashtray, but Dave won't want me smoking in here, so I have to save that for my own truck. And well, that's it. That's the extent of our AutoZone accessories. All right, so let's fire this thing up. To do that, I put the key card here, and we go into drive. This screwed me up a little bit. First of all, it took me 30 seconds to even find this. Once I did, I still found it kind of ridiculous. I'm gonna have my seatbelt on. And you got this big infinity screen here. It was a 14.5 inch or 18.5. So it's a big screen. You can tap to activate drive. Even though this does make logical sense, you go forward to go to drive, you go backward to go to reverse. It's counterintuitive to what you grew up with, which is, you know, going back one, going back two to get a small complaint, but a real one. And I don't know why Tesla always has to reinvent everything. There's your rear view mirror now, by the way, which is the screen on the back, which completely screws up proportion. So it looks like every car is tailgating you. And that becomes annoying. I mean, if Chris drove one of these, he'd have road rage incidents 15 times a day. The poor old lady might be a car length or two behind him. But to Chris, it's going to look like she's on the bumper. He's going to pull over, eventually figure out how to park, and then go, you know, give her some trouble. So... It's also bone quiet in here, which is weird. I wanted a little music. I brought my Def Leppard cassette, but yeah, you know, just couldn't find anywhere to put it. There is a thing I don't know. We go into here. We've got all this stuff. They've got an arcade, Beach Buggy Racing 2. I'm sure one was better. Boomerang FU. Yeah, feel that. You got your toy box. That's where I did a light show. This, you know, all this stuff that's just supposed to distract you while it's taking forever to charge your vehicle. You can get into off-road stuff. Off-road may available. Put the vehicle in park. All right, let's put it in park. I think we tap that. Confirm greater risk. So it gives you all this stuff, which is, you know, great fun. I'm not sure about moving a 7,000-pound vehicle through mud, but maybe. All right, so how do I get out of that once I'm in it? You can lock the different. They got all this crap. We can change the ride height. Let's go back to this, the dynamics. Go back in. We're going to go into beast mode. And that's going to make it very, very quick. You got your towing, hauling. It'll tow 11,000 pounds or something. It's pretty good in that regard. Charging outlets. Because this is a foundation, it's got some kind of bed outlets that 110 or 220 and can act as a generator for your house if you need that in bad times. I have to say that's actually kind of cool and useful. Autopilot, I tried that yesterday. Worked fine, and I made a phone call and I was holding the phone, so it got pissed off, gave me a strike, shut off, and said if I do it 2 more times, then I'm done. So it's a lot like my 3rd grade teacher, and like all this stuff. And you get more into it. You get your internet crap, you get your Instagrams and your tickety-tocks and you know, all these things that the snowflakes want, podcasts and such. You know, so there it is. It's just basically, and it's like driving an iPhone, you know. So let's do it. Let's drive an iPhone. We're in drive. It just sits here, by the way, in drive. No creep. And, of course, that's the... Oh, wait. Why now I'm back in park? No, I want to go to drive. Oh, Jesus. There we go. All right. I'm going to actually have to pause for a minute to close Peter's gate here. I won't make you suffer through me getting out and doing that, so bear with me one moment. All right, back in. And did I mention 4-wheel steering? So let me show you that. So again, we're at 1 turn lock to lock. There it is. That's as far as you're going. And if you look in the back... I don't know if I can. Oh, God, everything is so hard when you're old. But look at the turn on that tire. There you go. So that takes some getting used to. Not even a turn lock to lock with the back wheel that's turning. And, man, you're like driving a spaghetti path down the road when you first get in one. It takes a little while for it to... get, you know, become second nature. But once it does, it's nice. I'm not going to lie. You know, I actually like steering the thing with this all-new crazy steering that makes no sense to me and is nothing like any traditional car. And it's only going to get a little better with my furry cover here. So there it is. Hopefully we don't look like we're in a Cybertruck. I've got the Ventaports on the side. We've got the Hula Girl. We got the dice. And let's see, we're going to, now it's to put me back in park. You know, it's like having a nanny in the car with you. And that is the one thing I hate about modern cars. You know, you put me in an old Mercedes diesel, it's even hard to get the thing to shut off, never mind anything else. This car, you know, if the central command decides that you shouldn't be driving, it's just going to brick the truck on you and put you on the side of the road. And I hate that. I hate, not to mention the whole computer update and upload thing, unlocking options. You know, all that's just going to lead to subscription costs and other ways to, you know, torture the consumer, which just absolutely sucks, you know. If you want your heated seats, it's going to be $9 a month or something. I can't hammer it with all these people moving trees around out here. Looks like Dalton cleaned this window. God, is it bad? I did find voice command, which is the only way an old guy can do it. So once he, no, not. I don't know. I don't want full self-driving. That was the wrong button. All right, here. Climate. There we go. So I'm going to turn it. No, where'd it go? Opening. Okay, there it is. We got AC now, which is good. Let me just give it a quick hammer while there's no one in front of us. Holy shit. Okay, so that was 0 to 70. I didn't count that. But, yeah, I wasn't exactly prepared for it either. So that's the thing. That's where, that's the part where these cars are supposed to shine. The hula girl is obviously a little freaked out. We'll call her Betty. But, and it does. So it does give you that. Although there's no scream of rage. There's no internal combustion shrieking in your ears. It's just like a very, very fast golf cart. And, while it's fun the first time you try it, I have a feeling that without that, audio, it's just not gonna keep thrilling you. I think you need that. I don't want to run in the back of the school bus, but so there it is. I mean, man, is it? It's obviously quick. I've now got the steering wheel dialed in pretty good, and I just, you don't make little corrections. You don't have to. It's got 2 electric motors on the steering column that respond, and apparently some redundancies and stuff. So if they fail, it's not just going to throw you into the school bus where you blow up a bunch of kids. So they've got that all figured out. But, driving on the road, it really feels bizarre. For one, I don't like looking in the rearview mirror and seeing nothing. That's not a good enough rearview mirror to me. It's got this enormous... Man, you want to clean that front window? You got to be Mary Lou Retton. You got to be some kind of contortionist to get in there and clean that. So mine would just be eternally dirty, or I'd hire someone. I mean, one bonus is, I guess it's a nice place to lie down and take a nap, but yeah, I don't know. You got these little forward windows, I guess, there to be able to see stuff, and they're kind of interesting. But here we are on the road, and I think the Ventaports are working because I am not getting any, middle fingers or Nazi salutes or... Oh, shit, I have a school bus stopping next to me. These kids are going to flick shit out the window, man. I know it. I don't know if I'm allowed to move or not. Can you move when you're right next to the bus? Like everyone's going. I'm not taking the chance. It's the last. There we go. Ow. God. All right. Hopefully I won't kill any nice young children. Anyway, there it is. So driving is unique and interesting. I think on the way to work, I'm going to plug the address in the nav. And, oh, shit. No, I got to go the other way. I actually got to drop this thing off. And we'll try that full self-driving thing. That beat me up yesterday. I obviously can't hold the phone, but maybe I can stick it on the center console. So, look, otherwise, thank you guys for having a look. Appreciate it. Try to get some more fun stuff coming up before we get to North Carolina and see what can be done up there. And otherwise, really appreciate it. Ah, God, that turning with the... turns like a ski boat, but it hurts. Yeah, we'll see you with the next one. And right after this, I'm going to try... If nothing is after this, then I failed, and the FSD. And by the way, that spinner knob is vintage FSD and probably better, but we're going to try Tesla's version. If nothing comes after this, then I failed. If something does, then, well, there you go. So thanks for having a look, and we'll see you with the next one. Take care.